Welcome back to another episode of my Pokemon Battle Series, the School of Hard Knocks. Throughout this episode, as always, we'll be jumping on to the Pokemon Global Link Rating Battle server, playing under the Championship Battle rules, which are this year's current VGC 2017 rule set. So, we'll be just picking up where we left off yesterday, running the same team of Talonflame, Garchomp, Alolan Marowak, Kartana, Alolan Ninetales, and Milotic, and we'll see how we got on today. So, this might be the last episode on this channel with this particular team, because as I did say yesterday, I am going to be doing that review episode tomorrow. So we may have battles with this team tomorrow, but if we do that, we will also have the review video and look at changing the team up. Anyway, so we've got our first opponent straight in with a rating of 1610, and they are running a team of Silvally, Oranguru, Tokol, Tapu Bulu, Talonflame, and Garchomp. So Talonflame, mirror here. It's the first one I've played against so far this season. Let's see what. So there's definitely a Trick Room element to the team, I would say, with Oranguru and Tokol, so we need to be very precautious with that. And obviously we've not got too much to hit that Talonflame with on our own end either, so we need to be quite careful for the opposing Talonflame as well. I don't really like Ninetales here. It's pressured a lot from the Talonflame and the Tokol, but changing the weather might be quite nice. So let's think. I'd imagine that Silvally might be an exploding one as well, so we do need to be careful with that. I think what I will do is lead Talonflame, Garchomp. I'll bring my Marowak and let's think. Kartana might be nice, but then the two fire types really don't help with that. I think just for weather control, I'm going to bring my Ninetales. It has a sash as well, so in front of either Talonflame or Tokol, it has the potential to take at least one fire move, and it does threaten that Garchomp quite heavily, so just for that, we'll see how we get on anyway. So, excited to get into this one. It doesn't seem like it's going to be the easiest of matches. And obviously another thing I was saying as well, we don't carry a terrain in the team, so any other Tapus that we see, my opponent, I always feel like they're at a clean advantage here. So my opponent leads off with the mirror to my leads with the Garchomp and Talonflame. So what are we going to do here? Now I do have the option of doubling into the Garchomp, and a combination of Brave Bird and an Earthquake should take it out, a Supersonic Sky Strike. But I think what I might do is Tailwind with my Talonflame and just protect with my Garchomp. I might lose Talonflame here to a Rock Slide from the opposing Garchomp, but I do get the Tailwind off here, and we'll see what my opponent's going to do. My opponent, I'd imagine this is the Talonflame, and it's probably going for the Supersonic Sky Strike. I wonder if it's targeting my Garchomp. If it is, that's brilliant. If it's targeting my Talonflame, it probably will go down to this. But we do know that my Talonflame it was either a speed tie or it's actually underspeeding my Talonflame anyway. But that doesn't matter because my Talonflame has went down, unfortunately. But my opponent has used his Z move. And we see my opponent's Garchomp just go for the Earthquake. Now I'm not in too bad a situation here. Wait there, let's think. I've not got really anything on my side of the field to hit the opposing Talonflame super I feel like I'm really forced to kind of bring in my Ninetales here. At least I can threaten to break the sash, the Gale Wind's ability on that Talonflame. So in this situation, what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to protect with my Ninetales, and I'm going to go for the Techtonic Rage into the opposing Garchomp. And hopefully that should be enough to pick up the KO on the Garchomp. But my opponent still has his Gale Wings ability on his Talonflame intact, so he could just launch a Tailwind this turn. But I don't want to risk taking a Flare Blitz straight up from the Talonflame. So my opponent actually switches out his Garchomp into the Torkoal, which is fine, because that is going to be a gone Torkoal. It's going to take a massive Techtonic Rage, so that should pick up the KO on the Torkoal, which is nice. Going to see a Brave Bird come out from the Talonflame into the Garchomp, which is something I'm also not too worried about too much anyway. It does a nice chunk of damage, just below 50%, but it does break that Gale Wings ability with the rough skin damage and the recoil there. We are going to get the Techtonic Rage off, which will hopefully pick up the KO on this Torkoal. Garchomp. And then at least that's one thing that my opponent hasn't got to use against me going into the next turn. We do still need to worry about that Talonflame, because I don't know if it's actually in range now. Obviously Blizzard isn't going to be 100% accurate now with the sun on the field, and so it might be worth switching my Ninetales out at this point, depending on what my opponent brings in. I do have the Marowak in the back, so the Oranguru actually comes out onto the field, and we know that my opponent has the Garchomp in the back, so I don't know how likely it is that my opponent will Trick Room in this situation. He might double into the Ninetales just to try and get the KO, but I do want to preserve my Ninetales. Obviously he's got that Garchomp of his own. I think what I'm going to do is just go for a Poison Jab onto the Talonflame and just chip away at it. Because I feel like I need to keep the Ninetales so I can have at least something to deal with the potential threat of that Garchomp later in the game, if I get to that far. So the Talonflame actually protects. The Oranguru goes for the Psychic onto the Oranguru, the Marowak, sorry. Does decent enough damage. But now I think what I might do is, the sun is on the field, so I wonder if a Flare Blitz, but that the Oranguru could just protect here, to be honest. So I'm going to double into the Talonflame with a Poison Jab and a Shadowbone, because we should be outspeeding with both our Pokemon here, and the Garchomp's actually going to come back in. So it'll take both of these moves quite nicely, and I would expect the Oranguru maybe to protect in this situation, but we don't see a protect coming out from the Oranguru. Do get the Poison Jab off, critical hit, no poison, and we take a bit of residual damage from the rough skin, and we'll get a Shadowbone off, which doesn't do too bad damage either. The Oranguru is just going to go for a Psychic again into the Garchomp. So my Tailwind Pit is out now. I think what I'm going to do here is protect my Marowak, and I am going to just go for an Earthquake with my Garchomp. Hopefully I outspeed my opponent's opposing Garchomp, and just get a decent amount of damage off onto both of these Pokemon. And if my Garchomp goes down here, I've still got the Ninetales to bring in, which should be able to start clearing things up. Obviously need to be careful with that Talonflame. It will probably outspeed my Ninetales here. Opposing Garchomp actually gets the Earthquake off first. The Oranguru has the Telepathy ability, so that's fine. And my Garchomp's going to go down to an Earthquake here. And I wonder if the Oranguru now is going to go for... No, it doesn't go for the Trick Room, just Psychic into the Marowak's Protect. So I will bring in my Ninetales here. And the issue I've got now is this Oranguru is free to just break the sash on my Ninetales. But I feel like I'm gonna have to just Blizzard and go for a Flare Blitz into the Oranguru and see if I can pick up as much damage as I can. Oh wow, it's actually Scarf Garchomp, so that totally throws me off there. Gets the Earthquake off. Gonna pick the K up onto my Marowak, and I think my Ninetales now is definitely in Psychic range, and if not, then it is definitely in range for that Talonflame to come in now and just pick up the KO. So that totally threw me off. So that was a nice surprise play from my opponent. Good game to my opponent. That is a bit of an unfortunate loss, but these things happen in best of one. Obviously if it was a best of 3, we'd go into the next game with that knowledge and we could kind of make adjustments for that, but never mind. I just oblivious to seeing that coming, but that's again just something to keep in mind in the future. Scarf Garchomp, I think Aaron Zeng rang a Scarf Chomp on one of his most recent teams with some excellent success, so I could see it picking up a lot of popularity in the metagame. It's obviously good against a lot of threats at the minute as well. You've got a lot of options to hit a lot of the faster threats in the metagame. And Garchomp scarfed obviously next to Oranguru, it does make sense with the telepathy ability, so it's definitely something we should keep in mind going forward. So let us go into the next game and see if we can kind of get back on the winning train. Hopefully it won't take too long to find an opponent here. And just like magic, it appears. So we got our next opponent from Japan on a rating of 1761 with a team of Alolan Ninetales, Arcanine, Garchomp, Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, and Kartana. So he does have the very popular Kartana, Tapu Fini, and Arcanine core, pairing with Garchomp, Ninetales, and Tapu Koko. So this doesn't look like it's going to be the easiest of matches at all. He's obviously got, I have the Milotic to take care of the Ninetales, but, sorry, not the Ninetales, the Arcanine, but he does have the Tapu Koko and the Kartana, which threaten that. And the Tapu Koko actually really puts a bit of a spanner in the works combating this team. So let's think about, I feel like Marowak is something I need to bring here just for that Tapu Koko. Garchomp is obviously nice here, but I have to be careful with that Ninetales. I think what I'm going to do is lead Talonflame, Milotic. I'm going to bring... Oh, this is the quandary, because if I want to bring... Actually, I could probably get away with not bringing Garchomp to this match, because I really do want to bring my own Kartana to this game. So I'm just going to lock in with those 4, with Talonflame, Milotic lead, and a lot of Marowak and Kartana in the back. And we'll see how we get on with this. Switched up to the Gladian tune again. I haven't used it for a while. Still probably my favourite theme tune. Not that you guys care. Right, let's see what my opponent's going to lead off with. I wouldn't be at all surprised if I see maybe the Ninetales come out, try and set up that Auroraville early match, and yeah, we see that with the Tapu Fini. So this isn't too bad. But I don't want to lock, the thing is I don't really want to lock my Milotic into Blizzard here, so I'm probably going to, what I'm going to do is double into that Ninetales. And I'm going to just Scald, and I'm going to... Should I... Yeah, I don't have another Z move. So I haven't brought the Garchomp yet, so just to get rid of the Ninetales, I'm going to Supersonic Strike into it and Scald just to get it off the field, prevent that Aurora Veil from being set up. We don't see any protects come out from my opponent, so we will get this move off and hopefully pick up the KO onto that Ninetales before it can start supporting the team. And hopefully, I would imagine the Tapu Fini probably go for a Muddy Water or maybe a Calm Mind here. But my Talonflame should survive a Muddy Water, pending it not being a choice specs variant. So we will get the Scald off onto the Ninetales and pick up the KO there. So the Ninetales goes down, so that's a nice start to the match. Tapu Fini actually goes for a Scald onto the Talonflame, and it does pick up the KO there. So, what is my opponent going to bring in next? This is the question. So we've got Kartana and Marowak to bring in. Now, I can't imagine my opponent bringing the Arcanine into this match right now. So I think I'm going to sway more towards bringing my Kartana in here. And the Garchomp comes out. So I'm completely fine with that. We're heavily threatening the Tapu Fini now, so I'd imagine maybe if he does have the Garchomp though, it's not something you really want to be bringing in. My Milotic as well, I have EV'd it to survive a Techtonic Rage, but I think what I will do is just double into the Garchomp here with a Scald and the Leaf Blade, and hopefully that should pick up the KO onto the Garchomp. So we're going to get the Scald off. If the Garchomp obviously does survive, it is going to get a Techtonic Rage off, and we have taken a tiny bit of chip damage from the hail already. So it will, oh wow, okay, so this is a special Garchomp with Flamethrower, and it actually takes down my Kartana in one shot. Tapu Fini Moonblast into my Milotic, reveals it's not specs, but we're in a very difficult position now because we don't have anything to really hit that Tapu Fini with super hard, and with bringing the Marowak, I don't know if it'll be able to survive if it'll be able to survive the Scald. It should be able to take one Scald. So I'm just going to Shadow Bone into that. I'm going to Scald. Is the Garchomp going to protect here? And is he just going to Moonblast into my Milotic to get some additional damage off onto it with the Moonblast? I don't think I can risk letting the Garchomp get an attack off, so yeah, my opponent does go for the protect, but the alternative would have been doubling into the Tapu Fini, which could have proved quite risky there, because if he didn't protect the Garchomp, he's quite capable then of just probably clearing the field, to be honest. At least we're going to get a Shadow Bone off now onto the Tapu Fini, which does actually not too bad. It does respectable damage, but we will be the only issue here is that Garchomp can, so what my opponent can do is switch the Garchomp out to whatever he's got in the back to take the Scald, and he will Moonblast into my Milotic. I will clear the field of the Milotic, but then that's where the problem arises. You can bring the Garchomp in and just get rid of the Marowak, because the Earthquake will be a single target move, or you'll have the Techtonic Rage. So don't think there's much getting around this, to be honest, because a Scald is not going to pick up a KO on that Tapu Fini, which is a bit unfortunate. So I don't think we've got really many options to really maneuver around this. The Arcanine comes in. Like I said, he would switch that out to preserve that Garchomp. We will pick up the KO on the Arcanine. We might not even pick up the KO up onto the Tapu Fini now with the Marowak after the Intimidate drop. So the Arcanine will go down. It actually survives a +2 Scald, so that is a heavily bulky Arcanine. Opponent gets the Moonblast off onto the Melodic, taking it down. We are going to get the Shadowborn, but whether it be enough after the Intimidate, and it's not, unfortunately. So the Arcanine does go down to hail damage, and the Tapu Fini does go down as well, but I don't think there's much. Because the Garchomp probably has the Z Earthquake as well, I really don't think there's much getting around this situation. All I can kind of hope for is that the Garchomp doesn't have the Z move. The Fini will go down this next turn to hail damage. If hail actually lasts this last turn, if it doesn't end here. If it ends here, then we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble anyway. So my opponent does have the Z move on his Garchomp. We'll get the Techtonic Rage off. And this should definitely put us into what we might not have been before, Earthquake range. So, and as I said, I think the Marowak wouldn't really be able to survive a single target Earthquake anyway. So we're just delaying the inevitable, which is a bit disappointing, but we've been schooled by Garchomp well and truly on today's episode. Hail stops, so yeah, bad news. So I think the Garchomp will probably just pick up the KO here with an Earthquake. I can't really do anything, and my opponent's free to just double into the Marowak. It's a close game, but not so close really. Garchomp actually goes for the Poison Jab, so he's not taking damage. Earthquaking his Tapu Fini, gets the poison, doesn't really matter, and the Fini's just going to clean up with the Scald. So, good games to my opponent. Yeah, I've enjoyed the 2 games today, but I just think we've been outmaneuvered, outplayed in that game just now. I think losing the Talonflame early on, but you know, you say that it was kind of a trade for the Ninetales. But it was all about that Flamethrower from the Garchomp, which is a super nice tech really, because when you think about it, Garchomps are commonly seen at the minute with Fire Fang, and obviously with the amount of Intimidates going around in the metagame, it will nerf that, so you can probably easily calculate Cortana to survive a -1 Fire Fang from a Garchomp. But with the Flamethrower, it's not worrying about the Intimidate onto the Garchomp at all. So, and yeah, as we saw there, that was an Assault Vest Cortana, so even I doubt there would be very much investment. So it's definitely something to look out for, something to look at. It's obviously really nice tech from my opponent there, and it definitely did the job there, because if the Cortana survives there, I'd have a way to take down the Tapu Fini. And without it, I just don't have anything. So that's definitely something to take on board for battling in the future. So guys, we will wrap things up there. I will have another round of my Premier Challenge coming out later today as well, so keep an eye out for that. That is going to be round 2 of this past weekend's Premier Challenge at the Bristol Premier Challenge. And my opponent in round 2 is Steve Edgson, so a very decorated player, so stay tuned for that. If you've enjoyed this episode, hit the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then you will be hitting with flurries of daily content uploaded. So yes, until tomorrow guys, we may do some matches with this team and then do the additional video with the team review, and we'll change things up, and then we'll get back on the ladder and we'll start hopefully climbing and not falling like we are at the minute. So thanks for tuning in guys, and until tomorrow, enjoy your night, and I will see you later. So bye bye.